So let's talk a little bit about the Spirit of Christ, because the church has been infiltrated by the adversaries, bringing in their adversary doctrines, and Christians don't even know what it is. They think it's just some feeling you have, right? Loving Jesus so much, right? But when you read Colossians, right, it's talking about that all things are created through Jesus, right? By Jesus and for Jesus. So mainstream Christians read that and you think Paul was talking about, oh wow, Jesus created the mountains and the birds and the bees and the ants and the trees. Wow, Jesus is the creator of the whole universe. But when you think about it, it's almost a very childish reading of the text, because when Paul wrote the letter to the Galatians, Jesus already died and was risen to the right hand of God, right? Paul is not talking about the creation of this universe, the mountains, and Paul was talking about the risen Christ. And if you take the time to read the entire chapter, you see what things are created by and through Jesus, right? Nothing to do with birds and bees. It's about the risen Christ, the Spirit of Christ in us, which is the way to God, which loves his cosmos, which does not mean the whole planet or flat earth, whatever you believe. It's talking about society, God's order, right? And through God's Spirit, we have a creating force. We have a love for beauty. And when you look at the European people, right, while most of the world still lived in the Stone Age, they built the most magnificent cities, right? And I work at a company, we make beautiful signs, right? And there are some really crafty people working there. But to be honest, those signs in 10 years or 20 years, they will be obsolete. They will look out of fashion, old, right? And that goes for everything we make. We can't make no more things that last, right? You can still see buildings in Europe that are 800 years old, 1,000 years old, and they still bring you in awe. The jaw-dropping, beautiful, right? We used to build things that last. Yeah? The Europeans used to make music that is, after hundreds of years, still magnificent, glorious. Now we make music that lasts a few years, right? Yeah, you can have some nostalgic feeling by old songs, right? But we lost our soul, right? So Europe is built through the Spirit of Christ in the people, right? And these people sailed the oceans. They went all over the world, right? Building empires, building cities, right? Building the beautiful east coast of North America, right? But the other ones came also in. They don't care about beauty. They only care about money. And because the love for money is the root of all evil, they started to compromise the Spirit of Christ, even took it away, right? And now you are left with cities with the exact same strip malls everywhere, nothing but concrete everywhere. It's just about placing the goyim in houses so they can work, so you can pay taxes, right? That is ugly. We don't know what beauty is no more, right? So when we allowed the sons of that wicked one to become equal with us by law, they vowed to de-Christianize. The Western world was created through the Spirit of Christ. We allowed that, right? And now, few of us even have the Spirit of Christ, or even believe in God. Yes, some have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof, right? And these sons of that wicked one opened the doors for all kinds of creatures to come in with a whole different spirit a spirit that was not compatible with us, because nothing is compatible with the Spirit of Christ, right? So in order to make it work, right, they try to convert them. Maybe then they would become a gospel that never worked. Even if they called themselves Christians, inside they were not like us. So what did they do? They took away the Spirit of Christ from us, lowered our standards, lowered our level of spirituality, so we can, on a superficial level, coexist. Right? But what is an American? Right? What is a Dutchman? What is a German? What is an Englishman? If you come from Pakistan and on paper you become an English citizen, does it mean you're British? No, it does not mean. Because being a part of a nation, that means that you are part of a nation in your heart. Right? And you see 99.9% of people who come from whatever other country outside of the West, that they come here, they call themselves Americans, or they call themselves Dutch, or they call themselves English, but their heart is not here. The heart is where they came from, or even after generations, their heart is still where the forefathers came from, right? Because when it comes down to it, they still love their own motherland, right? And it's totally fine if people live among us, right? But our nations are supposed to be ruled with the Spirit of Christ. Therefore, we must have rulers who have the Spirit of Christ and walk in God's statutes, right? But that was racist and supremacist and all kinds of words they use, right? So they took it away. There is not one true Christian-filled Christian spirit-filled man in government no more. They all bow down to mammon and to other gods, to other peoples, because now we, the sons of God, have to tiptoe around other creatures with other standards, with other cultures, with a totally different spirit, right? But the church teaches you just sprinkle a little bit of Jesus on them, right? And they are just like you, right? And now the sons of God are being forced to become a minority in their own towns, right? Here in Houston, there's only 20% white men left. And this is coming to the rest of the American cities too. It's already happening. Look at New York, look at Chicago, right? Look at the big cities, right? And the beauty is disappearing fast. We are losing our freedoms. The economy is crazy. The inflation is crazy, right? The churches are empty. Even here in Texas, Muslims are buying up old church buildings, right? Now we build altars for strange gods, right? And then you wonder why our country is in this state, right? You can talk all day long, oh, Biden did this, and oh, the economy, right? The Richmond, north of Richmond, oh, I work all day so hard for a bad payday. Oh, complaining, but at the same time he's promoting Marxism, right? How we should embrace diversity. Well, this is the very thing that goes against God's command, right? By diversity, they don't mean that it is okay for other people to live here. Not by diversity, that means that other people must be at least the same numbers. And of course, that won't stop there. They want to make us into an absolute minority. And the more we become a minority, the more America is sliding into the image of a third world country, right? Yeah, but Chris, there are no races. It's just skin tone, really. Well, if Nigerians are exactly like us, have the same spirit, even if they're Christian, if that is true, why did they never build societies and nations and cities like we did, if they are the same? Yeah, because it's in Africa. No, because the white man went to South Africa and built one of the richest countries in this world. It was a paradise on heaven. It even became the breadbasket of Africa. Entire African continent benefited from it, right? Now they have taken away the white man out of power in South Africa, and the thing is becoming a dump. So don't tell me that we're all equal, right? And I'm always nice and kind to everybody, right? But even Christians don't understand the Spirit of Christ. They think it's just some feeling you have, right? And then that feeling needs to be boosted every week in church, right? You have to sing songs and then, oh, I feel it again. I feel it again. Oh, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. I feel it. I feel your Spirit. And oh, I'm gonna fall over. Oh, I feel the Spirit of Christ. Oh, right? And at the same time, nations are falling apart, right? Rico. So wake up, Jacob. Right? Wake up. You are losing everything. You grew up in a predominantly white nation, where it was free, where it was prosperous, where it was clean and safe. And now you take it for granted, and you think this is not the way to go, because other creatures don't feel at home, because the Spirit, they don't know the Spirit of Christ, right? And Jesus thought, I never knew you, right? Because God doesn't know them, and they don't know God, so they don't feel at home, right? So they want you to give up your spirit to accommodate them, and we're turning now into a shithole, right? But you think you're going to be raptured away, right? But you know, I'm waiting for a divine intervention too, and I already see that God is raising up his saints. He's unveiling things to a lot of people, right? But till that time, right, you don't know how long it takes, maybe decades, right? Your children won't grow up where you grew up in. They won't experience that freedom, that safety. They won't experience it because you think it's a good thing to give up the Spirit. Yeah. So, you know, I'm walking now on a track. You know, I have to run the race, that I myself not be disqualified. That's what Paul said. Right? We have to run the race. We have to stay true to God. And one of his greatest commandments is to be a set apart people. Now that does not mean that someone from the Philippines now believes in Jesus and now he's part of the set apart people. That's not what it means. Alright? God said, I set you apart from all other peoples of the world. He never said all other peoples of the world will be set apart too. Right? And again, I have no problem. I grew up with other peoples living among me. Right? And even though it felt sometimes very uncomfortable, because they have a totally different spirit. Right? But now they are becoming predominant. Right? We have Muslims in Europe, in government now, telling the European people what to do. Right? There is an immense Marxist propaganda day and night on TV. Right? And this Marxist spirit also found its way into the church. Right? Because Jesus loves everybody, right? You just believe something. Right? Very vague concept. What do you believe? What do you believe? Right? And Jesus is my Lord. It's just lingo, it's just words. Right? You know, I remember how it used to be growing up in a predominantly European country. And I felt safe, I felt a sense of belonging. Right? And even though I didn't know Christ till I was 40, right? Still I experienced the blessings because our forefathers did believe in Christ, right? And no matter what struggles and tribulations they went through, they always rebuilt and made things even better. That's the spirit of the white man. You never heard the white man complain about, oh, we were in a war, we need help from other nations. No other nation is going to help us. We did it ourselves. Right? So, Wake up, Jacob. Right? Don't turn Christianity into some kind of circus, right? God bless.